The Tale of the Negro Sawab, the first Sudanese eunuch. Vocabularies: Zab, the instrument of male temperament. Affiance, be engaged to marry. Barber, a person who cuts hair, especially men's, and shave or trim birds as an occupation. Eunuch, servants or slaves who had been castrated to make them reliable in a royal court. Bride's chemise, a woman's one-piece undergarment. Characters: Negra Sawab, the eunuch who was castrated. Little girl, daughter of Sawab's master and the mother of the little girl. Negra Sawab was brought to Baghdad and was sold to the one of the men-at-arms at the palace at the age of 5. The man has a 3-year-old little girl child. Sawab and the little girl get along very well that the people was happy at the sight of them. One day, when Sawa was 12 years old and the little girl was 10, he found her coming out from a hammam with a delicious scent. The little girl ran to him and they played together, pinching and biting wantonly to the point that his little zab was arise and swelled. The little girl straddled on his belly and rubbing herself to him until he took her virginity from her. Sawa was back to reality and ran away because he was terrified at what happened. While the girl came home, and her mother was shocked and grieved to know that her daughter was not a virgin anymore through her disarranged clothes and face. Her mother came up to the plan that she will keep it a secret from her husband, and she planned to affiance her to a young barber. The little girl lured Negro Sawab until he came back, and she protected him not to get killed, but she was already married. They cut the balls of Negro Sawab and appointed him as her eunuch. The mother made people believe that her daughter was virginized by the barber through putting pigeon's blood on the little girl's bride's chemise. Sawab and the young mistress made love many times at her husband's house because only his eggs are gone but his zab remained until the time of her death. When her husband, father, and mother are also dead, he became the property of treasury and was numbered among the eunuchs of the palace. "That is why I am here with you tonight, my brothers," said Negro Sawab. Moral lesson: in life, you have to think carefully and at the same time controlling yourself before making decisions because you might regret it at the end and you cannot turn back the time to undo it. The second tale is about the tale of Negro Kafur, the second Sudanese eunuch. Vocabularies: Suburban, a large garden. Mule is the offspring of a female horse and a male donkey. Disheveled, disordered. Cauterized, to burn an injury to stop bleeding. Characters: Negro Kafur, the eunuch who has been castrated. Merchant, the one who bought Kafur, and the merchant's wife. When Sawa was finished, Kafur began to tell his story. Kafur was only 8 years old when he was an accomplished liar. He always tell one lie every year, and when his master knew that, he immediately sold him to the market and cried, "Who will buy a little negro for one fault?" And a merchant bought him and knew what was his fault. A year passed. His master had abundant foods and drinks at his suburban garden and entertained his friends from morning till night. His master suddenly remembered that he left something at his house, so he commanded Kafur to get it for him by riding a mule. When Kafur arrives at the house, he suddenly cries, "My master was with his friends in the garden. He went to do something against the wall, and the wall fell on him and destroyed him. I leaped upon my mule and came to tell you." With that, many people surround him including his mistress and young Mr. Mistresses that started to tear their robes, destroying the things inside the house until it was ruined. The mistress asked Kafur to lead the way where her husband is, to give him a noble funeral, and when they arrived at the garden, they started finding, while Kafur went to the garden and met his master. Kafur arrived at the garden with disheveled hair, beaten face, and started crying. His master asked why, and he answered, I came to the house and found that it had fallen into ruins about my mistress and your children, and said that no one on his family is alive, including the animals in his house. Upon hearing this, his master began to tear his clothes, beat his face, and pull out his beard until blood came out, and walked towards to the front yard with his friends, and he found her wife searching for him. The merchant asked his wife what happened, and her wife told everything to him, and the merchant said everything to his wife. His master said to Kafur that miserable slave, ill-omened blackamoor, son of a whore and 1,000 dogs, cursed child of a cursed race, why have you plunged us all into such terrible grief? As Allah lives, I will tear your skin from your flesh and your flesh from your bones. Kafur said that he bought him knowing what his fault, and is only a half lie. That is why he will tell another half lie. Then his master had sold him to the market. When, when they arrived at his master's house, his master's wife told everything with exaggeration about what happened. And his master said, Bastard son of a bitch, if this was a half lie, what would one of your whole lies be like? I should imagine a couple cities would be destroyed by one of your really good whole lies. After that, he was drugged by a wali, and he tasted an artistic meal steak until he fainted. While he is unconscious, a barber castrated him and cauterized the wound with red-hot irons. He was a eunuch when he woke up, and his master says, You destroyed things which were very dear to me. I have destroyed things which were very dear to you, and sold Kafur to the market, and every time he was employed as a eunuch he created troubles and being sold many times with different masters, until he was at the service of the Prince of Believers, but his strength to lie was reduced since he lost his eggs. That is my story of castration. Peace be with you. The other two negras mocked him and say, Rascal, son of a rascal, that was a splendid lie. Moral lesson: you cannot get anything good for telling lies. And yes, you can benefit from it, but it is only temporary because eventually you can get hurt or other people. Karma will get back at you to the point that you want to give up. Our parents do not want us to grow as a bad person because the effect on them are doubled and it is because of you. As early as we are young, we should avoid telling lies in order for us to have a good and peaceful life. The Tale of the Negra Bukit, the Third Sudanese Eunuch. Vocabularies: outrage, arouse fierce anger. Forkinated, sexual intercourse between two persons who aren't married to one another. The three Sudanese eunuchs are sitting in the ground while Bukit said that their stories are ridiculous. I will tell my destruction of my eggs. I outraged my mistress and fornicated with her little son. But the details are long and extraordinary. We should do our job and dug the hole to bury this chest. They hurriedly dug, and when they are finished, they went home. What do you think is the whole story behind Bukit's castrated eggs? Thank you for watching. Once again, I am Trisha Trinidad.